Hey, gang, everybody, welcome back to Placebo Effect. I am thrilled for my next guest. It's my man, Matthew Scheall. Matty S is in the house. What is up, Matthew?
What's going on, man? Glad to be back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I tell you what, like, what's cool about this is you're my first repeat guest. You were one of my early guys that came on my
Mhm.
podcast, and we're running it back, baby. We're running it back. So let's just get into this. Obviously, you just released a new EP,
Mhm.
and we definitely want to talk about that. Like that, I wanted to bring you on so you could talk about that for a little bit. But let's just kind of take a step back because for the audience, right? It's been 3 years since you were on my channel last,
Mhm.
and you were aspiring to grow your music, and some I was kind of aspiring to grow my podcast, and maybe those dreams didn't hit how we saw that 3 years ago when we were out in LA. But you
Mhm.
know life goes on, but here you are still making music, right? So tell us a little bit about kind of your journey just into music between, I guess, maybe 2020 until
Yeah.
coming back around again to the EP.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I would say, in 2020, obviously COVID happened. So a lot of I actually took kind of a little bit of time off, not really like intentionally, but I just yeah, I don't know, just kind of like with life and with work and when you're working a full-time job and then the world shuts down and you're kind of in this season of like, okay, like how do I keep this going, but also like, how can I also just take a step back and maybe reevaluate. um I connected with a new producer that I was through a mutual friend who's been producing like all my music from then until now, because I was kind of doing some stuff on my own, just learning how to produce and mix vocals and and I actually released a couple songs during COVID. One was actually with Carissa, who is the EP that I just dropped is a collab EP with Carissa Frampton, and so she's actually a good friend of mine, and she lives in the Lakeland area in Florida, where I reside. And so, but backing up to that point, we did a song called "How Long," so that's also out right now. It's been out since then. So I believe we dropped it in 2020, and then I produced a song on my own, which is called "Remind Me Again." That was like the first song I ever like kind of produced myself. I didn't make the instrumental, but I like the vocal, like producing the vocals, mixing, mastering, all that stuff. And so, but after that, I kind of was like entering a new season of like, well, like I'm still learning how to produce, but like I still think it's good to have a producer that's like, polished and, all that stuff. So, connected with a buddy of mine, and then he referred me. His name's Justin, and so he's actually in a metal band. But yeah, he's produced all my stuff from then until now. He would send me beats, I would record it, send the stems off to him to mix and master because we weren't, nobody was couldn't link up with anybody because it was COVID, everything was shut down, and just like nobody wanted to really meet, which is fine. If you felt uncomfortable doing that, then it was kind of like the remote kind of work, remote working together and just collaborating. And so once like the world started opening back up, I actually went to a studio, which isn't far from my house, and yeah, we just kind of the rest is kind of history. We just kind of connected, and he's kind of done all my stuff. But the EP, not trying to move too far ahead. Carissa,
Well,
who's
let's not move too far
all
ahead though,
right, my
because
bad, my bad, my bad, my bad.
actually I wanted to stop you for a second because right on the two 2020 tracks you just mentioned, right? So
Hmm.
I guess also stepping back for me, right? So you and I met in LA. We met
Hmm.
in a missions trip in LA. It was 2021 actually, and that's how
Hmm.
I got to know you. And I checked your tracks right off the bat, and two tracks that really popped for me was "Remind Me Again,"
Hmm.
which I love so much. I actually like use it to score my blog,
Yeah,
my blog about that LA missions trip, and I
that's
just thought
right.
it was
That's right.
fire. And I
Yeah.
also really dig How Long, the collab with Carissa back then. Interestingly enough, I sampled the How Long snippet. It's a part of my out track. So
Okay. Yeah. Hey, that's, oh yeah.
so
Okay.
so when
Yeah.
I saw the new record you dropped with Chris, I was like, okay, look at Matt and Chris are back again. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so how did you and Chris kind of just get to know each other starting back from like 2020?
I mean, we've known each other for a long time. Like we used to actually go, we actually went to two different churches. But the church that she was a part of at the time, I actually would like double dip into their like they had a young adult. So I would go to my church, and then on Wednesdays they would have like a young adults ministry, and like a lot of friends from where I went to college, a lot of them went there, and so kind of built that community, and then I met her through that church. And then I don't know, like I don't even remember, to be honest, how it kind of all transpired, but like I think we just like was like, hey, let's work on a song or something, you know what I mean? And it just kind of like worked. How Long was actually the first song that I believe we actually did together. Um, yeah, because I think prior to that, I don't think we had anything together. I thought her voice was super dope, and I thought it would mesh really well with my sound. So we did that song, and then from there it was kind of like, well, shoot, like there could be a future with collabs, and so um,
You guys obviously, put that collab back then, and then you were pumping out music for a little bit. But
mhm.
did you take a break? Because if you look kind of at your chronology
Yeah,
of your singles, there seems to be a gap. Like 21 and then 22 was just kind of a dead period for you. So was there
yeah.
something going on? Obviously, you
Um,
did get married and stuff, but other than that,
right. Yeah, so I didn't stop like making music. It's crazy because like yeah, that season, I definitely took some time off as far as like I wasn't really putting out a lot of music, but I was on the back end building my catalog, like building my I call it like my vault. Like I'm making music, but I'm just not actively like talking about it. And so, because a lot of it was um, during that I would say 2020 to 2021, I had some songs I was putting out. I was releasing singles, so that's when I was working with Justin, and so I was actually figuring out like I was still kind of figuring out my sound too, because a lot of the stuff that I released, you know, prior to COVID and during COVID, like was that I was because I'm a huge fan of like indie lo-fi. Like I love that like really chill type of stuff. And so that's always what I've loved doing. But I also love that like synth heavy, like big production, like type of stuff too. So when I met Justin, I was because he was a new producer and he hadn't worked with me before, we were kind of I would send him reference songs and he kind of knew my style. So he was making stuff for me. And then I was, putting out those singles. But then there was a season where I went back to a lot of other songs that I wanted to remake. And so, but to actual beats that like weren't off like YouTube, like buying out the rights to a beat that was out there from another producer, which kind of, because that's kind of what I was doing prior. And so it was nice to be able to have a producer who could make something from scratch. And so I was remaking a lot of songs too that I had previously written to other instrumentals. And so, yeah, it was just a lot of figuring out my sound, and then I started to like work on a lot of stuff on the back end, and then I was working on collab songs. So it wasn't that I stopped doing music, or I was like kind of taking time away. I was still working on music. I just wasn't dropping a lot of songs. And so that I would say that time period, and then obviously like me and Monica's wedding, like we had a lot going on in that season too. So it was like I was still putting out singles. It just wasn't every month. You know what I mean? It was like maybe the first couple months into the new year. I think it was like maybe 3 or 4 I dropped in, and then that was like 2023. Because I dropped I'm Not Okay. I think Be Okay, and then it was like a couple other songs like Black Kettle, and there's a couple others I'm not thinking of right now,
yeah,
but
there's a good track that you have that I really like. I wanted to talk to you about.
okay.
Amen, that you dropped in
Amen.
23.
That
That
was another one.
Man, tell me about that one, because
Yeah.
that one slaps, bro. That one's fire.
Yeah, so like uh I was kind of like already leaning, well, so the I'm Not Okay time, and then so Amen was after that one. I kind of was still on that chill, like kind of chill. I don't want to say like depressing stuff, because I was like, you know me, like I talk about my life, like things that I've been through, like how God's helped me through it. I'm Not Okay was about anxiety. Time was about like when I was 28, I was about to turn 29, had like kind of was going through like an existential kind of crisis kind of thing, kind of moment. I had a little moment, kind of got out of it real quick, but talked about that, about just like time is precious. And then I don't know, man, like I just wanted to release something that was kind of more of a banger, I guess you could say, like just a more upbeat, like kind of something that you could really like just, I don't know, just have fun with, you know? And so, Amen was that song for me, because I was like, I was talking to my producer. I was like, yo, man, we need to do something that just like hits hard, you know? Like I need to switch it up a little bit. So we released that. And then what was cool about this song was it switches up, like the beat changes about halfway through the song, and then it's a more of a spoken word kind of vibe. So I kind of did that to, I don't know. I just love I love songs like that where it just switches up on you and it's like it kind of goes into a different direction. But so yeah, man, it was just like a song and a testament of like just what God's done in my life, and
Yeah.
um, you know, just honoring him, you know, and you know, he's taken me far, you know,
Well,
from where
you
I
picked the right
was.
word too, my friend. Banger is dead on, because I can hear it anywhere. I actually like to put that on when I'm hitting at the gym too. So that's a
Okay.
great song.
Yeah. Heck
An
yeah.
Another really good song I wanted to ask you about. Speaking of collabs, another song that really hits hard that you released as a single this year was "Find My Way."
Yep. Yeah,
That song is fire
that was the
too,
first
dude.
one that I dropped this year. It was in January. Yeah, that one,
Yeah.
me and my buddy Keem, I've known him since college. So this is back in like 2012. Like we've always talked about collabing, and that was another one because his style is a lot different than mine. But I was like, I need to find one that fits the mold. Um, and he was over at my house one day, man. I was going through beats that I hadn't used that my producer sent me a while back, and we landed on that one, and we wrote the song really quick, and then yeah, not too long after, man, got in the studio and just chopped it up. And that one just kind of like that moment of life where you're just like you feel like maybe you're stuck and like you're just trying to find your way, but obviously like for us as Christians, like we know the way. It's just sometimes we're in seasons where you might feel like you don't know what's next or where you're even headed or even where you're at. So it feels very bleak and uncertain. And so it just kind of like is a real song talking about that. And yeah, just like how like, you know, God guides you through it. So yeah, that was the first song that I released this year, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And then you teased us when you released the first song on the EP, "Still," which is a great song. But let's
Hmm.
go ahead and pivot into the record, right? The EP, "Be Still and
Hmm.
Know."
Yep.
Like you said, you collab with Carissa. So let's deep dive into this. Tell us about this record. Like, what brought it to life? Like, how long did
Yeah.
it take you guys to make it?
Yeah, so it started with Still. So I was in the studio with Carissa, and it was one of those things where like it kind of just happened. Like it just like I had the idea because I was like, yeah, I want to talk about the Psalms 46:10, which is "Be still and know that I'm God." And so I brought it up, brought the idea up, and then because I was already, so she was going to release actually a project, and so we were kind of simultaneously featuring on each other's stuff. So like I was kind of laying down some verses for her, and then we got in the studio and we chopped up Still, and it happened really quick, just the melody, the idea. And so yeah, we actually made that one pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, like somber enough. If it's easier for
that second verse thing.
I'll put some stuff.
Change, cause the pain will never stop. Like the pain is always running. Hey.
Be still, be still.
And then I actually had the idea. I was like, what if we did like what if we did an EP, like a collab EP around that verse, around that reality of or that tension of like trusting God in the midst of the chaos, but also like just like being still, you know, that whole concept of like be still and know that I'm God, like trusting in God. And so it kind of brought us to a place where so some of the songs that she was going to have on her project, she's like, well, what if we just made a collab EP around those songs? Because a lot of the songs that I was collabing on with her, like ironically tied it in to that verse. And so so we just started kind of going back and forth, and then there was a couple other ones that we created apart from what she had already had. And so that's, you know, one of them was Lose You or Close, and then Goodness. And so Crossroads and Goodness, because she already had Close, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it honestly just kind of sparked up. We just kind of both felt that like pull to just like, hey, I think this is supposed to be a collab project where we talk about different areas of our lives as it pertains to being still and remembering God, but also like waiting in that tension of like, sometimes we want to go our own route. Sometimes, you know, we want to be in control. It's hard for us to let go and just really trust God, even when things like whether you're mountaintop or the valley low. And yeah, it just kind of all is predicated around Psalm 46:10, and we just wanted to be really real and vulnerable and honest on this thing, and you know, as honestly as vulnerable as we could be with making 5 songs, you know, because obviously 5 songs is like, it's not a long EP or it's not a long album, but it's how can we condense it and make something like super rich and real within 5 songs and talk about kind of different things within that realm. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started. And to be honest, it happened pretty quick, like I said, because a lot of the songs were already written. We just kind of added a couple more, and yeah, and just was like, yo, let's do this, you know. And so we made it happen.
Yeah, it's good. I love Still, and Lose You also, like you could tell, has a
Mm-hmm.
lot of emotional connection to it. So it was a really, really good album. You could tell you and Carissa, like, we're just really in the groove when you put this out. I'm a fan, of course, and it just dropped. So
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that this thing takes off. Tell
Yeah.
everybody how they can hear your sound, Matthew, where they need to go.
Yeah. Anywhere you stream music, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Tidal, Deezer. So literally anywhere that you can find music or that you stream music, it should be there for you to be able to pull up and stream. And if you really love the EP, make sure you buy it on iTunes. You know, definitely support it. Definitely helps to keep making more music. So yeah.
Heck yeah, we definitely want to do our best here. I'm gonna do my part, obviously.
Yeah.
I got the link to that stuff down in the details, and so of course the record just hit, so we definitely want to get a safe momentum. But you talked about the vault. Hopefully, we're gonna see
Yeah.
more stuff coming out of the Matthew Scheall collection maybe later this year.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to release a couple more songs from now until the end of the year. And it's actually kind of interesting because uh, I kind of going back to where I was actually, I would say even last year, you know, I know obviously like I did release a couple songs in 2024. Pep Talk still was one of them, and Be Okay. So really, I didn't really release a whole lot. And, you know, I was working actually on another EP, so another project, which it's kind of crazy because it's a whole different sound than what I've been currently releasing. Not that it's like the genre has completely changed, but it's definitely got just to give you kind of some teaser, it has a lot of like pop punk mixed and infused into it. So it's going to be a lot more live drums, a lot of synth, a lot of like, if you're a fan of 21 Pilots, you know, I still keep my like my hip hop elements in there. So I'm not like completely changing the trajectory, but I definitely wanted to dabble into a whole different type of sound that I love. Like I love pop punk, I love indie pop, and just even like rock music. And so I kind of tied a little bit in some different elements in it. And so I was kind of spending a lot of time last year tweaking and working on some new stuff, and stuff that I just, you know, hope that, you know, my current fans and maybe even make some new ones along the way that they're going to enjoy and like. Yeah, just kind of just trying to take the sound to a new level. And so that's kind of where I've been at and working on some new stuff, and still going to obviously release a lot of hip hop stuff and you know, in that area, but definitely looking forward to releasing some new stuff. So that'll be more so in the new year. So when it comes to that stuff. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, the new stuff sounds super exciting, man.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, that's all the reason why you need to subscribe to my man, Matthew Scheall. He likes to drop those pre-releasers out there too. So just keep an eye out. You know, I'll always keep listening to you. I'm a fan, and obviously we're friends as well. So really great to have you on, Matty S. I'm just super proud of the new album. The EP is fire. Great sound, man. Great job.
Appreciate you so much, man. Just happy to be here, and just appreciate the support that you always give. So yeah.
Always a pleasure, my brother. May good things continue to go your way. God bless you, Monica, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, gang, that's it for this episode. If you like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. God bless you guys.